Alright, since MasterHand burned his glove with an iron, I'll be doing this review by myself. And the game is Defender of the Crown, and you have a selection of characters to choose from, but Wulfric's really the only one. And the story is pretty boring, so that's why I skipped through it. Now I know what some of you are saying. Oh, Wulfric's weak with leadership and weak at rage. Well, first of all, on the rage. Okay, so let's go ahead and select Wulfric. Let's get started. Yeah, not that. There we go. Now, the swordsmanship rating indicates how hard it will be to raid their castle. So, this guy having strong swordplay will be the hardest one to raid. And I'll go ahead and select his castle for raiding. You already saw I picked Wulfric as my character. And let's see what happens. Oh yes, I did.
Owned.
So to summarize, you don't really need to worry about raiding so much with Wulfric. You just gotta have a little skill. As long as you do, he's the best character. As far as the leadership goes, you can build that through fame jousts. Okay, so with that mess out of the way, Defender of the Crown is basically a strategy game for the NES. The problem is, you can't really make a strategy game all that great with the limitations of the NES's technology. And this game fails as a result. One major problem is this you see right here is the battle system. Yeah, I mean there's a little bit of strategy that the player can invoke, but not very much. And then there's the second problem that the limitations of the NES cause, and that's the fact that the NES cannot handle the processing required for the computer to play well. So guess what it does? It cheats! It cheats worse than Civilization. Thankfully not as bad as Empire, so you can actually win in this one. Now luckily, through the battle system, it does not cheat. But there are various other factors through which it does cheat. You see the red guys there? Those are the Normans. And the blue guys are the Saxons. Now you have to defeat all of them to win. But the Saxons are less unfriendly to you, and you can get safe passage through their lands. Having the Saxons around is also beneficial because of the fact that you can get a merger between yourself and one of them by saving a damsel in distress. You probably know where I'm going, but the Normans have a huge advantage over the Saxons. And it just seems as though this game was basically rigged against you because they couldn't program anything worthwhile to fight you with. If you look at the Saxon stats, they have some weaks within them. The lowest any of the Normans have is average, and even that isn't too common with them. And then there's the fact that the Normans get to move twice in each turn. So yeah, the odds are pretty stacked against you. And the cheating thing isn't even the only problem with the game. Every single thing you do except moving across empty land spaces costs you exactly 1 turn. Everything, even buying your army. Okay, I was exaggerating. It's not the only thing, but come on. Buying your army and having to worry about the enemy advancing on you, you can't even use them yet? That's annoying! The game isn't all that bad though. It does have a couple good things about it. There's the jousts, which you can boost your leadership stats with, and that's what makes Wulfric the best character. One thing that's fun about the jousts is that you can actually stab your opponent's horse. Take that. Unfortunately, it backfires. Technically, it's a rally tournament because it leads to a Morning Star event after the joust, which, if you win the joust, you got an advantage over your opponent. Now, one thing you can also do with these tournaments is compete for land. and you won't boost your leadership stats with it. But if you're using Wolfric, who's the strongest jouster, which also means he's the strongest Morning Star guy or whatever, then you can easily use these tournaments to keep your opponents at bay once you've gotten your leadership rating to strong, which takes 2 whole tournaments. So basically that's the whole game. You build up and try to get gold, and then you go and try to attack and take over your opponents. Now attacking their castle is sweet because you get to infect them with disease and throw fire at them. The only problem is that the soldiers in the castle area seem a little bit tougher for some reason. But I still like flinging disease at them. Oh yeah. Now your own castle can get attacked too, and when it does, there's a problem with that mechanic. You see, once you have 25 people, it don't matter if they're soldiers or knights, once you have 25 people in your garrison, no more will really help you. And that's just it. Knights count just as much towards your damage meter as do the soldiers. So there's a problem in that. If you have, say, 100 soldiers in your garrison, then each shot you take you will lose 4 soldiers, whereas if you have 25, you will only lose 1. And I can't help but say I have a little bit of a problem with that mechanic. No, on second thought, make that a big problem. Now here's what happens when your castle gets attacked. The one big disadvantage to Wolfric is that his crossbow moves slower than that of other characters. But your castle should rarely, if ever, get attacked, so that still should not be a problem. But anyway, by the time you're able to take over a castle, you'll start to see why the game cheats so much. Now I know I brushed up on it earlier, but you'll really start to see whenever you take over a castle, because once you get built up a little bit, you can dominate the game very easily. And then there's the ending, which sucks and isn't even really worth it. And so there you have it, Defender of the Crown, a game which didn't have to suck at all, but totally did. Why? Because the CrazyHand said so, and the CrazyHand knows what he's talking about. So, see you guys later.